Now, live from Rogers, Arkansas, watching the Ozark skies from Walton and Walnut to Vanderbilt and the Fort. Here's the whiz of Oz weather, Garrett Lewis.
And good morning. It is 6:37, watching a severe storm in northeast Oklahoma. The overall trend has been for weakening. There's one little sucker we got to keep an eye on, though, and it affects Benton County. I'm going right to radar for you guys. This is the velocity product first. I want to hit the tornado warning and then talk about what happens next after the storm moves in. So this is a look at the storm of concern, and actually I've seen a little bit of a weakening trend on it. If you look real close right in here, that's where that rotation couplet has been. It's gusting out a little bit. I'm still most concerned right in this area west of Siloam Springs. There's nothing going on in Siloam Springs as of now as far as severe weather goes. We do have heavy rain that's out there. That's a live look looking westbound, but it's that little area right there that is of most concern as it moves east. They've dropped all the warnings on the storm here in Benton County, so the northern part is not under a warning. The severe storms have weakened below criteria here as well from Tahlequah. They're still a little rambunctious out around Eufaula, though, as they track towards the southeast. Let me show you a couple of things, and then I want to look at the forecast for the rest of the day, too. So here's where we are now. It's 6:38 in the morning. You can see the storms tracking towards the east. They're moving at a pretty good clip. The back edge of this rain is near Tulsa now. I think it clears out by about 10 o'clock this morning. So the key time to watch is 7 to 9 for storms. Some of them could be strong. I don't think it's widespread severe weather outbreak or anything like that. There's just going to be some areas, there's some pockets of stronger storms that are going to be moving on in. So there's that one storm to keep a real close eye on here that's moving towards Benton County. I still don't like the way it looks. I don't like the fact that it's got inflow west of Siloam Springs. And I think just based on what I'm seeing, let's look here. Let's look back. Is it weakening a little bit? It's about maintaining the intensity. I'm not sure what the Weather Service is going to do when this expires. It's going to expire at 8, no, not 8 a.m., right? That's the watch they've got. They've got the warning, let's see here, expiring at 7, so about 20 minutes from now. I would not, guys, just a heads up, I'm not going to be surprised if they extend this thing out to Benton County. The inflow notch is bothersome, troublesome, worrisome, whatever sum you want to use. But just the fact that it's there and it's been persistent means there's some kind of deep meso going on the leading edge. You see those call them QLCS spin-ups. That's fancy for spin-up tornado, quasi-linear convective system. This is a convective system. We're going to get another one tomorrow. The tornado threat is almost always highest in two spots, either on the leading edge, like what we're seeing here, or on the comma head farther to the north. Comma head shows no factor, although they do have a severe storm up towards Neosho, closer to where that comma head is. It's this area to watch here near Siloam Springs. And then there's another one down to the south, too, out around Eufaula. This one's a bit hairier. So what I want to do, too, is show you the trend and how this has been trending. So we can look at the overall trend here and just view this over time and just looking to see, are the blue colors getting darker or lighter? Are there more yellows or reds? Well, it looks like the intensity is about the same on that storm north of Tahlequah. I don't see it changing. It's certainly weakened to the north, and you can really tell it weakening here around Summit and Braggs as it moves towards Fort Smith. So there is a weakening trend that continues, but I think the rotational risk on this is still enough to issue a new tornado warning for Benton County soon. So I don't be surprised, guys, if you get it. But the long and short of it is there's not severe weather everywhere. There's not even a warning for the northern part of this storm. It's just a little notch there that's the most troublesome and worrisome. And you can see the notch right there near Siloam Springs. And I do think as it rolls east, right there, that they probably do issue a new warning on it. Probably comes for Gentry. I wouldn't be surprised if it includes Cave Springs or even Town or Lowell as it moves east. Again, I can't emphasize it enough that the weakening trend is expected, so I don't think this holds on all morning long. But that guy's a little nasty little sucker there. So I'm not surprised at all if they do go ahead and extend that warning. So I'll keep an eye on that for you. Real quick, let's get to the forecast the rest of the day. I know you guys are just waking up. 6:41. I got two models to show you. I'm going to show you, just for geeks' purposes, here. This is the high resolution model that will go throughout the day to show you how it steps forward. Then I'll show you the North American model, which will go a little farther out in time to show you the next system. So this is what's happening now. You can see the line moving through. This is, let's see, back up here. As it tracks into the area, it starts to collapse and fall apart. Let's see, we've got somewhere close to about 10 o'clock is when you start seeing this thing weaken as it moves east. And then the afternoon looks okay. So south of Fort Smith, we get some redevelopment. This is afternoon and evening. I think First Friday on the Bentonville Square is actually going to be okay later today. Your setup time is going to be a little bit nasty early on. Let me go to the North American model, which is going to show us similar with that line of storms moving in. This one has it clearing out just a smidge later. You can see a little straggler there in Benton County. This is at noon. So there could be a straggler based on that one. Let's look back one model run and see if it was actually there on the last run as well. And it looks like a passing shower, but I think that for the most part, the bulk of this stuff is gone. Now look ahead towards Saturday morning. This one moves through. I think this one's a bit stronger. This is also targeting tomorrow morning at the same time. That's what's going on with the storms coming up. Expect a clearing trend as we head through midday, but do expect the possibility of at least a rogue shower. So here's where we are now again, watching that strong storm that's out there just west of Siloam Springs. Again, I do anticipate a new warning coming from this storm just based on the overall signature of the severe thunderstorm. I haven't seen it on the ground. I haven't seen anything like that. It is going to be something to watch. Farther south in Fort Smith, you've got the storm to the west. Remember that is weakening though as it starts to travel eastward. So I think that weakening trend is gonna continue for us. In case you're wondering, it's Cafe Bustelo this morning. It's either that or the Pike, Starbucks. So we're going with that one. This is the third one, so I could be a little talkative. I feel bad for my coworkers here in about an hour and a half or so. But hey, it's early. We're watching storms, right? So let's look to the north and the south again. The storm of most concern again is the one here that would generally affect Siloam Springs, Gentry, Heifel, Lowell, potentially even Rogers. And again, it's just that little notch there, right there. That's the problem. I don't think it gets into Bentonville, although you're going to get the storms. A rude awakening, huh? The dogs are going nuts over in the Lewis house already. He doesn't care. He's the golden retriever that's just kind of the dumb one. Willow, she's the smart one. She's trying to get under the bed, but God love her, she's gained so much weight, it's tougher to do it. So I put the thunder jacket on her. It works kind of, but it doesn't work as well as giving her CBD. I don't know. Willow, I think, is just traumatized from the storm. He's also 9. I mean, by the time you're 9 and you're a golden retriever, you're just kind of done with everything, right? So they're in the other room with the kids, and I gave the kids a heads up. This thing could move over my house, so I'm like, hey, if you guys get a tornado warning, just want to let you know there's some rotation on it. I'm not too worried about it at the moment. It doesn't look anything like what we saw last time, but don't be surprised if things get a little nasty out there this morning. Live look at a camera. This is found on what's that, Southeast 14th Street? Right there. Look at what's crazy to me is how much traffic has picked up just in the last couple of years. I guess when you get like 39 people a day moving into one city, you're going to get it. And here's the other thing, guys. People can't drive on I-49 when it's sunny. You throw in a severe storm at drive time, I don't know what you got to do. At least we don't have school traffic, but you might plan on leaving a little early or maybe just leaving a little late to avoid the mess because I guarantee you people are going to crash this morning on I-49. I mean, if it sprinkles, they crash, and it's heavy rain right at drive time. So the storm to watch again is this one moving north. Actually, the notch went away, didn't it? Did it fill in? Filled in a little bit. We'll see what the Weather Service decides to do on it. I still think they could probably reissue it. Any more areas of rotation to watch? Nothing in Benton County. The other one's pretty nasty too. That's out there around Crowder. Let's see. That's Crowder and the Quinn area. And it looks like the Weather Service. So they did not decide to issue a new tornado warning. So they dropped it. That tornado warning has been dropped for Benton County, but we do have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This goes for Benton County. So let me show you where this is, guys. New severe thunderstorm warning, Benton County. It includes Fayetteville, Springdale, Lowell, Rogers, as well as Siloam Springs. Again, tracking to the east. What's kind of wild about this is the only severe thunderstorm warning in the immediate area right now, though we do have more to the west. I do think the ones to the west should start to weaken, but that one here to the north, again, just looking at the overall trend here from where we were, I'm looking at the intensity. Here's where we were about an hour ago or so to where we are now. I think the one to the north that's moving to Benton County has maintained its intensity. Elsewhere, they've weakened. The one The one near Wilburton is still, this one bothers me a little bit. That more targets Hodo. I don't think that gets into Fort Smith. But the one to watch is still this one right over Siloam Springs. That's moving to the east. So where are they? Where are they going? Let's take a look. There's a new one here, and let's zoom in on it. It looks like the warning just populated on this radar source here. So you have the expiring tornado warning, and you still have that area of rotation that's out there that's moving to the east, right over the Siloam Springs area, tracking eastward, and that should be making its way in towards Rogers, Bentonville, and Lowell with heavy, heavy rainfall. Looks like it's dark or nighttime right now out in Siloam Springs if we look live, looking to the west. So heavier traffic already with some folks leaving the house at 6:47 and heavy thunderstorms moving right into Siloam Springs at the moment. So some strong storms right there. All right, let's zoom out a little bit here. Here's another look at that line of storms. Again, tracking from west to east. The little notches are the ones to keep a close eye on. And it looks like, let me go back over here. Again, taking a look at the line of storms that's moving in. They lit this one up near Stigler, near Porham. That's not surprising either. Let's see here. Yep, look at that little notch. Sure enough, out towards Whitefield. That's actually a pretty good size. Did I just pop it? There's a little bit of weak rotation in that one for a while. So they've got that one on, for Kyoto. We'll see if that one holds together too. Looks like there's another little weak pocket of spin near Gore. The one to the north is more linear right now as it weakens a touch moving towards the east. There's still some wind in it though, quite a bit of wind that's going to be moving through. Let me loop this and then we're going to take you in a little closer here. I'm watching that little spin on that. I'm not seeing anything that really looks like it's tight rotation or anything like that. It's still one to watch though. So this whole yellow square there. Down to the south, you have that stronger one near Stigler. You got another one right there. See them? Little teeny pockets of rotation here. Again, it's the exception, not the rule with these storms. The atmosphere is not primed for a major tornado outbreak like what we saw earlier in May, but we do have some of those strong storms that are out there and that are tracking to the east. So that's what it looks like. Let me go over to this radar source. I want to zero in on you guys getting hit this morning by some of this stuff. So this is the current radar situation. And we have storms lined up from Sulphur Springs back through Gravette, and it looks like some of the heaviest stuff in Sulphur Springs is right there along Horse Creek and North Duff Avenue, and then that runs out to the east along Butler Creek Road. So that's the heaviest part of the storm. And then when you drop south and you get into Gravette, you see along Main Street East and also First Avenue South some stronger storms there. A new radar sweep there showing out towards Decatur. That's close to that's just north of Decatur. So that's West Mountain Road. So in the Decatur area, as you come into town, the railroad tracks are right there on the west side of Roller. Heavier storms here along Main Street and then running west of 59-102 there near Grant Avenue and East Joe Avenue in the Decatur area with those stronger storms that are moving in. And then, of course, Siloam Springs, this stuff's blowing in right now, right down 412. Nasty, nasty weather. Look at that stuff, guys. Looks like you got some heavy wind and rain. And a flash flooding threat with some of this too. Remember this radar? So we're talking what West Tulsa Street, East Kenwood Street, Rains Boulevard, and then that moves east to South Lincoln Street in Siloam Springs. JBU, yeah, you're gonna get hit with a heavy rain too. It's pretty stout little rainmaker here, and what you see is this leading line moves through, and then you get a little bit of a break, and then it picks back up with the rainfall. This is over the next 3 hours or so. So really, the severe risk window is highest from say right about now to about 9, and after that, things start to fizzle and fade, and get a little bit more chill as heading into the morning hours. But still got that one little guy going on here. In fact, I want to go back over to analyst and look at it again. Right there. Let's just take a close look at this thing here. Let's isolate where the rotation is. Tough to see on that. Let's go back to this. It's very broad. It's not tight. So the broad rotation is when those greens and reds are wider together. The tight rotation is when they're really close together. They were close together earlier, or maybe I'll say closer together earlier. But that little pocket of rotation will also have a little bit of an enhanced damaging wind risk too. So in Siloam Springs, just a heads up, guys, I wouldn't be surprised as wet as the ground is if a tree gets pulled out of the ground. You are looking live westbound on 412 on June 6th in the morning on a Friday, right? Starting the day off with these showers. It is 6:51 with a severe thunderstorm warning for South Benton County as well as North Washington County, and two more pockets to watch around Stigler and around Quinton. Those are moving to the east southeast. Um, at the moment, they don't appear to be a factor for the Fort Smith region. I'm gonna go back over here to this source here. You got two pockets near Stigler and near Clinton, and then you have the one that's located here near Siloam Springs, which is moving right over Siloam Springs at the moment. Now, for you parents, I know you got kids out at Camp War Eagle. I think this does weaken as it moves towards War Eagle, so we should see that weakening trend. Although I'm sure all the kids are going to hear it, and it's going to be the talk of the morning when they get their cereal. Is that what they get in the morning? I don't know. Maybe it's bacon and eggs. But as it moves east, I do think it gets out to War Eagle. So this is going to be something to keep an eye on as it moves towards Clifty, Hinesville, LaRue, Lowell, as well as Springdale. Again, the overall trend is for weakening, and the we've seen that all morning. It doesn't look like this thing has really picked up in intensity. If anything, it has weakened in intensity, but it's still rowdy out around Siloam Springs for sure. Looks like I got another TVS pop up here near Vian. Let's look real quick. Look at that. Actually, we get a new tornado warning on this one. See a little notch right there? There's no warning on it just yet, but I bet we get one near Vian. So there's little three pockets there. This one could be a factor for Fort Smith. Let's see. Yeah, that could be a factor for us. But again, they're weakening as they move east. So it's not like the intensity is going to stay up the entire time. They're going to drop that warning here. Let's see, that tornado warning gets dropped at 8. That's another 7 minutes or so. The severe thunderstorm warning gets dropped at what time? 7:30 is when they're going to drop that one. It's really gusting out right now, more than anything. You guys do the coffee water combination? I just kind of go back and forth. Let's see here. And then farther to the, yep, there it is. So this is a new one. This is actually a new tornado warning for Sequoia County. So this is going to be right here. And remember, that's the same one we just talked about. That's the one near Vian. Not surprising at all that we're seeing this develop here. You can see the rotation's a lot tighter in this area. Actually, it looks probably like the strongest one out there. It's not on the ground. Doesn't look like there's any debris out there in the thing. But these little notches are the ones to keep an eye on as it moves east and then starts to target the area. Um, Heavy showers and storms farther to the north, running from North Benton County and then back down to the south. Here's another look at the radar. Let's look at this one. First, let's take a wide view. Here we go. And then we can see the line making its way eastward. And it looks like that little guy is going to be, let's see here. The one that's headed towards Fort Smith will be interesting to see if it actually maintains its intensity or weakens as it starts to make its way in. I do think we may see a little bit of a weakening trend on it. The instability is a touch higher though down to the south as opposed to the north. So it'll be one to watch, I think, as it makes its way closer to Arkansas. Again, if you're just joining me on this morning, or maybe you just rolled out of bed and looked at your phone and thought, what is going on? We got a line of storms moving in. Hey, guess what, too? Not only today, but we're going to get another line tomorrow morning. Yippee, right? And it's going to be about the same time. These morning storms are very, 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 very common in the June months. And I think that's what's going to happen the June months. The early summer months, especially June, when we get these overnight complexes. This one's actually towards the morning, and really they peak. These overnight complexes, they're ones to watch closer towards the 4 a.m. hour, 4, 5 a.m. That's usually when they're at their highest intensity, and then they start to fade just a little bit after that. One moment here. Let's see. Okay, so that's the current line of storms. Let me get you to go back into street level here. I want to see where this sucker is here. You have that little pocket of rotation to keep an eye on near Siloam Springs. I'm going to jump back and forth. I know it's kind of annoying when you see me do this, but I'm just checking for rotation on two different sources here. One is better for analysis, and one is better for communication. So this is the one I use for analysis, and it will show me where those reds and greens are at their tightest and where the rotational risk is highest. And while it's there in Siloam Springs, it does not look like it's as strong as farther south. That's why there's no warning on it. There's a warning on this little guy near Vian. That one is stronger. You can see the reds and greens are tighter, and you've got some yellows as well. Looking inside that storm, I do think, hey guys, there may be a little tornado on the ground here southwest of Vian. I've got a little pixel here that looks like a tornado could be on the ground there near Vian, just north of the interstate. Let me look at that real quick on this other image to give you an idea and a feel for exactly where it is. So I'm going to drop south real quick here and show you in Vian. I think we may have a tornado in progress here along Thompson Street, up towards Shealy Avenue and Thornton Street, and then moving up towards the north. So keep an eye on this one, guys. It's out towards Vian, McKee, and then even towards Sallisaw. Sallisaw probably has some sirens going off this morning too. But it's really that little notch there that's most concerning. And it's that little drop off where, let me show you, right there, that I think along, was it Bushy Head Street, and then Sanders Street, and then up towards Mayfield Street. New sweep. Yep. The guys, I think a tornado just is moving right along I-40 in Vian right now. I think right now it's located just north of I-40 along Veterans Memorial Highway, and then between I-40 and Highway 64. Big heads up for you guys as this travels east southeast. Let's follow this little debris signature near Vian real quick, and then we're going to touch base on those storms farther north again. See how it's moving east southeast? This is coming right down 64 and 40 in Sequoia County. So likely a tornado on the ground here near Highway 64. That's going to be along East 1060 Road, tracking towards McKee and then eventually towards Sallisaw. That's the one of most concern right now. Now, farther north, we are looking at severe thunderstorm warning here, and we've got heavy storms that are moving in towards Bella Vista right now. This is coming up on the Highlands, Lake Lomond, Hiwassee. Ooh, we got a heavy storm there, right there along 72 in Hiwassee. And then there's that intersection of 279 where you kind of have to come to that stop and go straight or turn left. And it was a coffee shop that's right there. That's along Forest Hills Boulevard, Carrier Lane, and West State Highway 72. Some stronger storms with that. And then also in Gravett, stormy morning for us along First Avenue, Main Street East, and Birmingham Street, Charlotte, Dallas Street, 6th Avenue. Real heavy along State Highway 72 running east out of Gravett. So those storms will continue here, really out there by the Simmons plant, north of Siloam Springs, getting into Gentry, and eventually Heifel. So Heifel's going to get this thing moving through next. The northern part of the storm's not warned, but it's still really, really loud with the storm that's moving through. So another wide view here. Let's loop this again. There's a line of storms as it makes its way in. Again, those little notches are the ones to watch for this stuff to flare on up and move in. The one to the north is near Springdale. Well, passing along in north of Springdale. I'm following this little notch, right? That little guy right there is where I'm watching it. But I've seen a weakening trend on it, so more just loud noise than anything with that particular storm. Let's look at the wind velocities on this storm as we track it in. This will also kind of give us an idea of what's happening across the region. So first, we'll start to the north. The fact that the green colors are darker and not bright with yellows also indicates the weakening trend. That's the pocket of rotation where the wind damage would be the highest. That's out towards 412, moving east. We can probably pull up that camera that's out there on 412 and just get a glimpse at what this thing looks like this morning. There it is. That's looking westbound on 412. So you're looking right into where that rotation would be. Of course, there's no signature on the ground or anything like that. But I bet we get some really gusty winds at this camera coming up in the 412 area here shortly. And it still needs to be monitored, but they dropped the tornado warning completely now, just west of Siloam Springs. So I have to watch this guy as it moves right down 412. What is it about 412 lately, right? We had that hailstorm. Now we got this thing moving right down 412. And then farther to the south, you have this little guy here that's coming towards Sallisaw. That one's a little bit more troublesome just because it's had a couple of radar signatures where it looked like it may have been on the ground from time to time. It's moving east pretty quick too. Let me go to the other source. Here, let's see. That's really going right there, isn't it? See to the north. This is what I was talking about just a second ago. See, it's kind of gusted out. Is there rotation in this? Yeah. Is it strong? No. You'll still get some strong winds out of it, and you'll hear a whole heck of a lot of noise as this thing moves through. There's not as much wind, even though it's still loud in Gravette and Bella Vista and Decatur, as there is farther to the south where that little pocket is right there. Again, no tornado warning on it, but some heavy showers and storms. New scan there doesn't show anything different. That's the area I would watch along 412. Down to the south, let's see here. You got these three little cells here. One that's closest to us is this one west of Sallisaw near McKee. That's the one that's had that's a debris signature, guys, right here. See it? Diane, right down 64 towards McKee, right here. On all the frames, it's there. So it would be right here near the McKee area, should there actually be a tornado occurring. There's also out towards Stigler and Kyoto. Let's just look at this guy. This one doesn't have, there's the rotation couplet, right? So we'll back it up just a little, and let's see if this thing actually gave us some. Nope, that one doesn't look like it even touched the ground. So really, the only one that's of most concern is probably this one right here, um, located near Vian and Sallisaw. Those are the ones. That's the storm that's spinning the most. It's just these little notches on these lines. See how this isn't even warned, so there's not even any warnings in Stillwell. And the overall trend has been for it to weaken as it moves east. But there's a couple of pockets of some stronger wind from Gentry and the Salem Springs area. Expect that to move into Bentonville and Rogers here shortly with heavy wind and rain. And then the back edge, see it near Tulsa? So this gets to us about 10 o'clock. And when that thing gets in, that should dry us out for a little bit. But we get another one tomorrow morning. Nasty, isn't it? Storms that are moving through. Goodness. Let's look here. Watching that area. Not as strong. Watching this little guy. A lot stronger. Yeah, I still think there's a tornado there. Let's go to the other radar source. Or not. Did I not do it right? Let's see. Wrong button. Boom. There we go. Okay, so this is the wind velocity. So we're looking at the guts of the storm, looking at the wind. I'm showing it near McKee, close to Sallisaw. Let's see here. Let me go to, let's look at the debris signature first. So it looks like it would be on the ground north of McKee near 1050. Guys in Sallisaw, I'd probably go ahead and get the haul with this one. Just because we had that signature on it. And let's follow the little blue dot here near Vian as we loop this thing. There's a new scan. Hey, it's still there. There's still debris lofted. So heads up in Sallisaw. If you're watching in Sallisaw, it'd be a good time to move to the safe spot. See the little blue? I'm talking about right in here. Right there is where the tornado is. That's northwest of Sallisaw, but the general track is tracking towards Sallisaw. So you guys in Sallisaw need to move to a safe place and get away from windows until this thing moves through. It's had a debris signature on it, so I do think a tornado has occurred. It's going to affect North Sallisaw more so than Wild Horse Mountain on the south side of town there. General track towards the east, though, would put it close to Fort Smith here in about the next hour. We'll see if it holds together. Again, the trend has been for weakening on the storms. There's been a couple little notches to keep an eye on, though, for some of the stronger storms. Out towards Bella Vista right now, the heaviest looks like it's occurring along Glasgow and Scottsdale Drive, Ardwell Road, Stony Kirk Drive, and Kinross. That's that's out towards Lake Lomond. And then as you move farther to the east, what do we got here? That's Forest Hills Boulevard. And then here's the Highlands Boulevard, which runs from the west side of the interstate, or out west, moving east into Lancashire. And then still have those storms near Huntley Lane and Chelsea Road in Bella Vista. So it looks like that's going to continue to be strong here out towards Hiwassee too. Guys, we're getting in Centerton now out towards the west. This is along Kenyon Road, Bush Road, Elsie Hickman Road. And then as it moves east, it's going to come into Tater Black and Southwest Elm Tree. Problem with this is it's hitting at drive time. So expect very slow traffic this morning on I-49. Farther south, the storm is actually the little pocket of rotations right there on top of 412. In fact, this is what it looks like right now. That's looking westbound on 412. That's with the RDOT cam out there. You can see a big drop in visibility and some brief gusty winds as this thing makes its way on in and tracks towards the east. So that's the look at the full scope of the line of showers and storms that are currently moving into the area. Here's a loop of it again. By the way, once this moves through, that's it for Northwest Arkansas until tomorrow morning. So there you go. Once it moves through, we'll get another one of these rounds of storms for the first part of the day coming up tomorrow. So we got like two of these things, maybe three too. Not uncommon at all for June. Actually, really super common. But they tend to reach peak intensity in the middle of the night, about 4 o'clock in the morning, and then they tend to weaken around sunrise. So we're on the back end of this thing, and that's why there's the whole line is not lit up with warnings. These little notches, though, are the problem spots today. All right, so let's take a look here at the storm. Let's just jump back and forth. Let's look at Sallisaw again real quick. I'm going to change over to this radar source to see if it's. So I'm just going to leave this one on the one that I think is spinning the most. Matter of fact, why don't we do something a little weird? Me? Something weird? Why would I do that? So I'm seeing this here near McKee and west northwest of Sallisaw. I've got the potential for a tornado here on the northwest side of Sallisaw, and I still have debris in the radar beam. So I do think that it's out there. And if you guys are in Sallisaw, especially north of Sallisaw, you should be in your safe place until this one moves through. So I'm going to leave this frame just like this so I can come back to it and we can look at Sallisaw. We can look at the line of storms, and we can also look for that little debris pocket as well. And then we can also track the storms with this radar source in a wider view as they lean into the area. So farther north, we have the storms coming into the west side of Rogers now, out around Vaughn and Cave Springs. Heads up and down I-49 this morning from Osage Mills into the 612 bypass there with some heavier storms. And then moving into Town, you guys got some stuff near Robinson and Harmon, just west of Town that's tracking to the east. And then you have more storms that are out around Prairie Grove. I know it might be a little skittish here from the tornado that moved through earlier. As of right now, nothing's spinning in this area at all. There is a little weak pocket of spin here near Elm Springs, but I haven't seen the intensity pick up on it. I'm going to loop it out for you here. A lot of times, instead of getting a tornado, sometimes you get some stronger winds. So I think there's a little bit of an enhanced chance of some stronger winds moving towards Elm Springs and Lowell, probably on the order of about 50 miles an hour or so at best with the storm. That's the severe storm here. And then we drop to the south and we have a handful of other severe thunderstorm warnings. Um, you got the one near Sallisaw that's the most troublesome here, and the one that's most concerning. You also have one near Keota. I think the Sallisaw one is the one to watch as we get closer towards Fort Smith here within the next hour. You can see it tracking east. I'm talking about that little thing right there. So let's just zoom in on this real quick and take a closer look at where this potential tornado could be going. It says observed, so it has been on the ground, and we know that because we've been looking at the debris signature on it. I think the debris signature has fallen off a little bit, but I would still be very cautious here in Sallisaw. On the north side of town, we're talking North Maple Street, north of East Redwood, north of West Cherokee Avenue, north along and north of Kerr Boulevard. So really anywhere in the Sallisaw area. I'm showing the rotation passing just along it on the north side of town. Should be over North Wheeler, North Dogwood Street right now, as well as Honeysuckle Drive, Bluff Drive, East Taylor Drive, and Northwood Drive. Again, that is west of Seven Oaks, north of Sallisaw, potential tornado occurring in this area. We also have that warning farther south that runs right up to the state line. There's probably some sirens going off too. This is near Keota. If I look at the inside of this storm for any kind of spinach, there's nothing spinning here. Well, there actually is a lot spinning there. There's no debris spinning in the radar beam here. So we know that that one is not on the ground. Whereas this one did touch down near Vian, and I've been tracking it as it makes its way in. I wanted to show you guys, let's show you the rotation, then we'll bounce back to the north here. Um, if we look at where this has been trending, you guys see this little blue area here? See if you can follow it right through here. So that's the tornado. So it moved from just south of Vian, and it would currently be located right here. So with time, you can kind of tell how it's going to be trending in this direction, maybe towards Muldrow, maybe towards Fort Smith. Will it hold together? I don't know. It should weaken some as it moves east, but actually that little blue pixel may not, that last one may be an antenna there north of town, whereas these ones, the ones to the west were the actual rotations. So I think it has lifted just based on what I'm seeing on radar at the moment. Going back to the radar and a wider view of the storms, you can see this stuff making its way into Bentonville. Not severe in Bentonville, but really loud. Some gusty winds with it, and no severe thunderstorm warning here for Bella Vista either, but it's still a pretty rowdy storm that's moving in. And then looking closer into Bentonville here, we've got it along Northwest 3rd Street as well as Southeast 8th. So basically moving right towards the old and the new home office here in Bentonville. There's Northeast J Street. Here's Tiger Boulevard running east and west. There's Northeast J. So you're looking at it coming up on Bentonville High School. It's already hit Bentonville West. In fact, it's really going on the out of the west side. Of course, kids are out of school, so giving you some markers here so you know where things are located. Um, I think in Centerton, south of town, it's a lot stronger there along Southwest Regional Airport Boulevard and West Rainbow Farm Road. That includes Brookside, Daisy Road, and then Greenhouse Road here out towards Kimmel and East Centerton Boulevard. This is a heavy thunderstorm. This is not spinning in this area, and there's actually not a warning in Centerton for that particular storm. This one is warned here near Elm Springs. That's moving towards Rocky Comfort. I think with time it moves right over towards the 612 interchange here, and should be packing some wind, 40 to 50 miles an hour. If it's trash day, it is for us. Hopefully that thing doesn't get knocked over. But expect very slow traffic this morning as usual. That's the 612 interchange there. That's looking southbound. Heavy traffic already, and I assume people will start crashing soon on I-49 because there's water on the road, and that seems to be what happens. This looks more like heavy thunderstorm than anything of concern as far as tornado goes. West of Fayetteville from Tawnytown south to White Rock, you've got some heavy stuff that's out there near Savoy. That is, let's see here, right along Savoy Road. So between Savoy Road and Harmon Road, west of Wheeler. Heavy thunderstorm here, and this is moving towards Fayetteville. So we'll get some heavy storms in Fayetteville with this as well. And then dropping farther to the south, these are not warned, so no severe warning, but a heads up in Lincoln and Prairie Grove. In Lincoln, we have we have a thunderstorm. It's not severe along East Pridemore and South Weddington Blacktop Road. Pretty heavy thunderstorm there near West Adams Street and Half Street. That's going to be in the Lincoln area. And then when we drop to the south, you get that storm that's a little bit stronger here north of town near Salisaw. This is the one that did have a brief tornado on it earlier, and it's still spinning, guys. Let's watch the spin here as it moves east. More of an east jog than southeast now. So that would be more so for Crawford County. It has moved northeast of Salisaw, so you guys in downtown Salisaw are in better shape here. This is out towards Seven Oaks. Let's see if this thing's touching the ground. Let's look here and get a feel for this sucker. I don't see it on the ground right now. I did earlier. So hopefully that's again a continuation of the weakening trend, which was expected as it makes its way into Arkansas. And the reason it's weakening as it moves east-southeast is it's losing some of its fuel as we get into the daytime hours here. But it looks pretty nasty, doesn't it? On radar, you got all these you got three little notches to watch that are tracking close to Fort Smith. This other one to the south here is also pretty stout. Here's a look at it. The one north of Salisaw appears to be the strongest at the moment. The one that's east of Stigler doesn't look like it's really wrapped up. The Salisaw one's pretty wrapped up. In fact, the last scan even wrapped up a little more, didn't it? Let's look at analyst. Going back to this again, looking at that side-by-side view here where we would have your Akins. Boy, that's going, guys. Let me go back to a single panel. So I'm looking at it near Akins and right there. Normalizing the rotation, isolating it. If there is a tornado that occurs, it's going to move towards Akins. Guys, it would not be in Salisaw any longer. It would be northeast of Salisaw, and it looks like it'd be east of 59, north of 40, and 64. But still spinning and still wrapped up pretty good here in north central Sequoia County. Matter of fact, we'll see how that trend continues. But if it does continue, they may extend that warning out. I'm going to zoom in a little more here. Back it up just a touch, guys. Let's see here. It's really noisy and messy now. It's kind of surprising to me though because it is more wrapped up now than when it was on the ground. Nonetheless, you guys near the Akins area probably need to be in a safe place until this thing passes through. Siren's still going off probably in Salisaw, but again, it's northeast of you guys in Salisaw. Farther north, there are some pockets of rotation to watch. I mentioned this one earlier. We have one right here near Cave Springs and Tawnytown. A little weak pocket of rotation. Sometimes you end up with an enhanced wind damage risk as that starts to move in. I can show you what that looks like out towards Monroe, looking southbound here. Heavy traffic again this morning as the storms move in, and some brief gusty winds lining up from Rogers out through Fayetteville. There's another look at it. on radar. Boop, right there. So you have that thing moving in, and that warning probably gets allowed to expire. It goes until let's see, how long have they issued this warning? Till 7:30. We got another 15 minutes ish or so on it. They probably drop it after that, just because this storm is continuing to weaken. The way you can tell it's weakening too is if you just look at the trend of colors here. Look how they're falling apart in Benton County as they weaken, and that one's weakening too. That's good. I like to see that. Hopefully that trend continues. It is expected to near Salsa. It's still pretty nasty right now. Let me go back to this one. Rotation is weaker now near Aikens, east of Sallisaw. That little green dot that you're seeing here would be the tornado. I'm backing it up through McKee. So it went through Vian, went through McKee, went through the north side of Sallisaw, and then started to lift northeast of Sallisaw, is what I'm showing. But I'm still seeing some strong winds here. So I still think that this thing has the potential to put another tornado on the ground near Long, west of the Bellefonte area. Farther south out towards Pacola, this thunderstorm's pretty robust too. That key area of rotation is northwest of Bakoshi, and don't see any tornado debris signature on that. So hopefully that trend continues. For everybody watching, let's go big screen here and talk about what is happening. There's a wide view, and I'm going to do reflectivity first. Then I'm going to pull up the radar because I know some of you guys might have just jumped on here. So here's what's going on. Again, a wide look from north to south. What we have happening this morning is we have this complex that's weakening and dying as it moves to the east. It's still strong. We do have a handful of warnings. We're watching these little spin up tornadoes on the leading edge of the line. Super, super common in June to get these. They typically peak in the middle of the night, and they typically fade after sunrise. So we're on the downward streak of this, but there's like 3 or 4 pockets of rotation that are kind of that you got to keep a close eye on. And again, the morning drive right now as you leave the house is going to suck. It's 7 o'clock. It's raining all up and down I-49. It's going to be raining on 540 in Fort Smith. I'm going to go back to radar, and you can see the line of storms as it makes its way in. And then I'm going to show you guys how this plays out throughout the rest of the day. So here's where we are now, right? And then here's where we're going throughout the day. And I'm going to go over to the high res data for you. I think it's going to do a little bit of a better job showing you how this plays out. So let's see here. That's one run ago. Let's go to the latest run. So you have the line of storms that's moving in. Here it is. And then it starts to fizzle and fade out as it moves east. And then as we head into the afternoon hours, by about 10 or 11, most of this is out to the east of the area. But if we go to the next model data, I'm going to show you the storm that we have now, which is this one. Look at tomorrow morning. Hey, same thing. And we may get another one after that. So you have several chances here for some showers and thunderstorms to move on through as they track into the area. So this is the line of storms lined up now from Bentonville south. If you can delay leaving the house for like 30 minutes, I don't know if you got a mean boss or not, but that would be a little bit better just because you're not going to be in the thick of it. If you leave out there right now, you're going to be right in the middle of this heavy thunderstorm in Rogers and Centerton as this moves through. In fact, I'll show you Battlefield. It looks gross out there right now. That's out near Bentonville with heavy thunderstorms that are in the area and moving through Centerton and Rogers. Matter of fact, a closer look here at where this is. Here's West Olive Street and here's West Walnut. So West Walnut on I-49, that Walnut Hudson exit area really has some of the heavier storms at the moment. And that looks as if it continues to move towards the east with the storms affecting downtown Rogers coming up. 14th Street, traffic's still moving here, but it's very, very heavy rainfall as you approach Walton there up and down I-49, and traffic's starting to pick up this morning with everybody encountering some of that nasty weather that's out there. Again, runs from out towards Rogers and then into Lowell with the heavier thunderstorms right there along New Hope. Slowdowns likely this morning. That's New Hope over there by the hospital and out there by the embassy with those heavy showers and storms. And then even dropping farther to the south, looking at it along the Pleasant Grove exit, really slow here this morning on those northbound lanes. Expect more traffic delays. You can see if you've just been watching this coverage over time, traffic just keeps getting slower and slower with the heavy storms that are in the area. So those are lined up north to south. Let's get this new scan here. So we've also got the storms near Cave Springs, and it looks like there's North Main Street, Elm Springs, East Wagon Wheel. Here's Brown Road running east-west. That's close to. Didn't they put a stoplight here somewhere south? I think they did. So it's close to where that stoplight is. Here's 264 east and west, and there's where all the construction equipment's parked as they make the actually, it's farther south. It's right there. Oh, as they make 612 extend back to the west northwest. But north of that, along Wagon Wheel and looks like West Miller Road is getting some heavy wind and rain with that storm. And in Fayetteville too, near Johnson and west of Fayetteville, along North Rupel Road, South Salem, and North Dean Solomons Road, right there along Mount Comfort. We have that thunderstorm that's moving in on I-49. So that's affecting real close to the Fulbright Expressway as the sun comes up this morning. And I suspect we're going to have some slowdowns in this area and probably some accidents too. Oh, yeah. Look, I pulled up the Springdale camera. Not a shocker. So already have one accident. That's looking at the northbound lanes near Springdale. So northbound traffic expected to slow down here as the storms make their way up and down I-49. Back to radar and back to a wide view here. Here's another look at the line of storms. Got a couple of stronger storms to the south. The ones to the north continue their weakening trend. Lots of rumbles this morning around Springdale and Elm Springs. Looking back to the south, still have these. Let's look at this little guy here. I'm just curious what's going on right here near Highway 9. Let's look here. There's that pocket of rotation. There's another one right there. There's two little guys to watch here. One near Muldrow, and then the other one west southwest of Fort Smith. On a current track, the area of rotation is going to pass north of Fort Smith. It may get into Alma a little bit later. The one to the south probably goes south of Fort Smith. So I don't think either one of those get into the Fort Smith area. A little bit of enhanced wind damage risk, though, on the south-southeast side of Rogers. Not a tornado threat near Lowell, but certainly some more wind damage potential here in Rogers on the east side of town, it appears. That's going to be right there near Lowell. It should pick up. Lowell 264 maybe just a little bit north of that, close to see if X78 looks what that looks like. There you go. That's looking southbound at the storm. Hey, traffic's still moving decently here. Again, that's out near the Lowell area. Back to the radar source. Another wide view here, and let's take another look at this thing. And I'm going to loop it out. So you can see the line of showers and storms tracking east. And you can also see the back edge too. So back edge moves in pretty doggone quick as well here west of Tahlequah near Muskogee, and then that's going to lift to the north. This line is going to be it for northwest Arkansas. Once it moves through, we'll have rain, and then we'll see a little bit of a drying trend. It is pretty heavy though in downtown Rogers right now, isn't it? Goodness gracious, out along West Olive and East Locust Street, West Walnut, Poplar, South 8th Street, West Oak. There's one of the 50,000 Rogers roundabouts. That's near the Oak Street area. And then east on 12 out towards Prairie Creek, there's some heavy storms that are moving in too. Those are tracking right over Rogers. We also have the one over Little Flock along 72 East Central. So that's running east out of the Casey's coming out like you're going towards Pea Ridge. Some pretty heavy storms there. And that's looks like it's along Spring Valley Road, Northeast Kensington, and then Cloth Ledge Drive and Northeast Cadbury Avenue. That's the east side of the interstate. And then moving back to the south, you've got some heavy storms too, with heavy rainfall in Springdale and Oak Grove and in Johnson, right there at the interchange of the Fulbright Expressway and Van Ash. Really some heavy thunderstorms parked right over us now with that thing that's moving in. Goodness. That is some heavy rainfall, and that will certainly slow things down this morning. I can take you to mile marker 65 here in this general area. That's looking northbound. Both north and southbound traffic has started to slow. And of course, on the left side of the shot, you've got all the car dealerships that are out there as this thing starts to work its way in. I'm going to go back to analyst real quick and let's look at this guy again. And let's see here. Those storms are going to be tracking, looks like closer to, yeah, we've got them now. So we've got it, new tornado warning. This does encompass Crawford County. So let's get this. And they actually included the Fort Smith area in this. So let's go back to radar here. Let me go to analyst, guys. There we go. And by guys, I'm just talking to myself. So we're looking here in the Fort Smith area. Where is the rotation at on this? I'm showing it right there near Long. It's back up. It's cycled back and forth, right? So there's a little pocket of rotation right there, west northwest of Roland. If we isolate the rotation, it's more located near Long. But again, if it jogs south, that's why I think the Weather Service probably included the greater Fort Smith area. And you're probably going to hear some tornado sirens. They're probably already going off for a good part of the River Valley this morning with that line that's moving on in. So that line of showers and storms is going to be tracking towards Fort Smith, along and north of Fort Smith. I think it goes more north than south, at least based on its current track. I can take you out there to the Oklahoma state line real quick and show you that's looking eastbound. So we're looking where the storm is coming from, but the stronger storm does include Fort Smith right now. So that is a active tornado warning for the Fort Smith area with the storm that's could be producing a tornado out towards Long. Let's see here. I'm going to get you isolated here. It would be right here southwest of Long, right there. That's where it's spinning. And the general track is more to the center of this is really where it's going. You want to follow the rotation with me? Let's do it like this. Well, it picked up though, didn't it? See the intensity? That's probably why they extended that warning. It's got a little bit of a slight southeast movement to it. Still pretty nasty little storm, isn't it? Again, we're on the back side of this, so it's not going to be a full storm for the full day, but definitely a fairly strong storm here that it looks like it's moving east at 35 miles an hour or so. It's about 5 miles north of Muldrow. They've got this tornado warning going until about 8:15, and hopefully it follows the same trend as the one to the north that continues to make its way in with a new severe thunderstorm warning on it for central and eastern Benton and Washington County. Let's go back to that guy. Let's see here. Actually, this is going to be a little better. There's the new little yellow box here. So that's the new warning polygon for the eastern part of the county. Hey, it's over in Bella Vista as far as the heavy rain and wind goes. Still cranking going out around Rogers, Lowell, and especially in Springdale with that line that's moving to the east. There's another look at it. I'm trying to find a westbound camera in the Fort Smith area to show you, and I think I got one here near exit 3. So let's go back to radar and then go south. So here's the line of storms. Right there is where the little tornado would be. I'm going to take you to a camera that's located right here, uh, just south of Arena Road, looking to the west, kind of close to the visitor center. So this is looking at it. This is looking right at where this thing is headed towards. Actually, it's probably looking just a little bit farther to the south. Still have some rotation in that thing near Long and Belfont. And we have some back to the south too. The one to watch is going to be that guy right there near Long. Let's see here. To me, that looks like it's still intensifying here. South of Long, northwest of Roland. Current track might take it out towards the mountain north of Roland. The potential tornado would be right here. So north of Muldrow at the moment, closer to Long, really between Long and Muldrow. And then farther south, we've got some stuff near Spiro and Pecola. That little pocket of rotation's right there. A little looser, not as well defined. And there's some strong winds too, looks like. So some gusty winds moving in. But that's the area of most concern north and west of Roland with that thing moving in. Here's another look at it. See how it's tracking to the east southeast? So we'll see how this thing tracks and trends here in the next few minutes or so as it gets north of Roland and then out closer towards Van Buren. Wide view of this shows the showers and storms that are tracking in. I'm going to go wide and give you a full screen view. This thing's going to be over pretty quick this morning. I think by about 10 o'clock in northwest Arkansas, it won't even be raining. It's blowing and going now through about the next hour or so for Fort Smith, and then it should start to let up shortly after that. You can see those storms in northern Leflore County that are making their way in. And it looks like the greater Fort Smith area still has at least a tornado risk here with that storm north of Muldrow. I'm curious to see the debris signature. Let's look. Let's check this out again, guys. Here, so we know we've got we've got it right. So we've got where the rotation is. This is what it looks like on the reflectivity. That's the wind. I don't see anything at the moment that looks like it's on the ground. So um, that could be some good news for us, but it's still pretty strong, still strengthening pretty good there. Um, here in central Sequoia County. As promised, maybe not promised, but as we mentioned, these storms are on the weakening trend. So this storm that was in eastern Oklahoma actually had a tornado warning on it as it approached Siloam Springs. It has since weakened, and now it's just gusty winds that are moving through the eastern part of Benton and eastern part of Washington County. These ones are still on their weakening trend, but you still got a couple pockets there, some stronger, a little bit of stronger spin just north of Roland. Isolating the rotation shows it's still north of Roland here, and not seeing anything at the moment that would indicate that it is on the ground. So a little bit of good news with that, and hopefully that trend continues. You also have that one near Spiro and Picola. That one looks a lot more disorganized than the one to the north. So it's more of a loud storm than anything. Again, that line lined up from Rogers back down through the Fayetteville area. Here's a look at it again closer. Another wide view of the showers and storms moving in from Bentonville south into Rogers. Looks like Highway 62 east up towards the Rogers Airport, Avoca. Heavy thunderstorm along Tux Chapel Road, Landers Road, and North 2nd Street there that runs right into downtown Rogers. That latest sweep still shows Pleasant Grove getting some of it along South 8th and West Price Lane. That's going to be on the east side of 49. So it looks like 49 in Northwest Arkansas. Zoom out a little more here. You can see these storms from Fayetteville north are mostly east of the interstate. So they're still going pretty strong here, though, out towards Fayetteville. And some heavy storms out there around Covington Park, North Mission Boulevard, North Road, North College Avenue, West Sycamore Street, West Poplar Street, and East Huntsville Road, along with East 15th Street. And then we've also got that strong storm in Greenland along North Cato Springs and West Wilson, along with North Napier. That's actually not severe warned, nor is the storm that's in West Fork. Those have continued to show a weakening trend. But this little guy here is still cranking. That's the one that's moving east closer to the greater Fort Smith area here. Here's a loop of it as it moves in. Ooh, yeah, look at that thing. That thing's still spinning really pretty stoutly, guys. That's near Liberty. Let me check for any debris in the storm real quick. Let's try this. Eh, looks noisy. Don't see anything that indicates that it would be on the ground. I do think we had a tornado in Vian this morning, though. A real quick one that moved from Vian right along 64 and I-40. It's probably a little bit more of concern from earlier before this thing started to trend downwards. I do think eventually we're going to get a new severe thunderstorm warning for the storm too. So expect new warnings to come in on the storm to the south. There's a wide view of those three warnings. Kind of funny. They don't even have any warnings here, and I think this one gets canceled on when they update it for Carroll County with the weaker storm. But that thing is going though near Fort Smith. Holy cow! Let's look at this a little bit more. Right there. So it'd be over Liberty. That's up on the mountain north of Roland. Swan Road. Um, let's see. This stuff looks really disorganized to me to the south along Highway 9. I don't see anything that's really jumping out at me. It's more broad rotation with that. That last scan weakened a little bit near Liberty, but that storm strongest, calling it from Blue Mouse Road running to the east. It's pretty much right along Blue Mouse Road on the east side of Liberty. Let's track that little pocket of rotation, see who's going to get it next. Looks more east northeast. In fact, hopefully that's a weakening trend there and doesn't flare back up. I know Fort Smith's in the warning in the north side of town. Probably have the sirens going off and everything still. Looks like the rotation is passing north of Fort Smith. Van Buren, it's close. I think it goes more towards Marina and figure five. Let's see. Yeah, moved. Yeah, it's weakening. Okay, so you can see how it was moving southeast, and now it lifted a little more to the north. That's an indication too. It could be gusting out. So hopefully that's going to be the case here. I don't like how it looks on radar though, because the radar presentation on it with the little hook on it. I mean, it's got a really big hook on it here. So again, that would be where the tornado would occur. But there's nothing, there's no debris in the radar beam right now. That's north of Fort Smith. So we still have it going on strong near Muldrow, out around Roland. Getting a closer look at it, that's going to be. Along North Main Street, as well as Abbey Lane, Grant Street. That's East Dorcas. And then we drop down to the south here, other side of the interstate. You have some of those storms running from Davis Lane, Shady Lane, over there by the post office. That's going to be moving towards the east, Clark Boulevard, and looks like Rayfine Boulevard as well. So that's going to be running along Highway 64 with the showers and the storms that are out there. My wife's headed out to work, and I'll probably need to go to work soon too, but I'll track it for just a little bit longer. All right, so we have those two storms here in eastern Sequoia County. Let's look again at this little sucker. Hopefully, what's happening is it's occluding. If we get enough of that spin, it'll kind of set itself off and suck in some of that moisture. And it is soupy gross out there too, isn't it? The humidity came back something else. By the way, the line of storms is moving through Roland now and Fort Smith. On the west side of town in Fort Smith, it's moving in. I think the tornado threat stays north of Fort Smith. I think the area to watch is figure five, Dripping Springs. Right there is where it's spinning. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a lot broader now, so that's good news. Hopefully that trend continues. See it north of Dora. Take you westbound on 40 and look at that. That doesn't even look that impressive, does it? Well, of course, it's not raining there yet. It's still on I-40. 59, figure five. Pretty nice little gust front there, huh? Let's see here. Let me show you what I'm looking at. That gust front's about to move into Fort Smith, so you're probably going to see some low-hanging clouds that look really nasty. It might even look like a wall cloud, but that's not the rotation. The rotation is north of Fort Smith, and let's see, you can follow it here. This is the area of rotation, and then this is the gust front. So these are more gusty winds that are moving in. The tornado threat is right here. So next in line for this is really this area north of Van Buren. It's close for Van Buren, but it's actually just a little bit to the north, just a skosh north of Dora and east of Liberty. So you've got it right there, north of I-40 here. There's another wide shot. Storm's over, all but over with for the heavy stuff in Rogers and in Bentonville. Lowell, the heavy stuff is east of town. Fayetteville's still going strong here over Fayetteville and East Huntsville Boulevard, East 15th Street, and South City Lake Road. Still going strong, but not warned in West Fork and Winslow. No warnings here as that weakening trend continues. And still tornado warned on this little guy here, just to the north of Fort Smith. Again, I mentioned that tornado should, if one occurs, would be to the north, although I don't see it occurring right now. The little inflow, though, is still something to watch real close. Back over to analyst here, and we'll move you south. Let's look here a little closer. That's the area of rotation. I want to loop this and see how it looks here. It's decoupling here, so I don't think it's. I think the tornado threat is coming down as the storm weakens near Rena. I also see the yellow colors. You can see on the inbound winds are weaker. Outbound winds still up though, so it still warrants a tornado warning on it. Let's look a little closer. Let's see if we got any radar or debris up there in the mountains. Pretty noisy. Again, that's going to be north of Fort Smith. In Fort Smith, though, we got this thing moving in, so I'll show you what that looks like here. That would be boy, right over downtown, huh? Right near Rogers Avenue and Garrison Avenue. Pretty much moving right over uh, First National Bank of Fort Smith in the Fort Smith area with those gusty winds. North O Street, Kincaid, UA Fort Smith, Grand Avenue. All get ready for this storm to move in. Again, that's not even though it's in the polygon, the tornado threat is north of the Fort Smith area for the moment. Hopefully, it stays that way. Still a very strong storm though as it moves on in. Let's take you. How about we look from maybe Kelly Highway looking south? And then we'll look from Rogers Avenue. There's Kelly Highway southbound. Traffic just a little bit lighter in Fort Smith than it is in the Northwest Arkansas area. Here's another look at the track of storms. And then if we look from Rogers Avenue out towards exit 8, this is looking north into the storm. This is going to get all nasty here soon. You're not going to be able to see anything as that line makes its way closer to Rogers Avenue out towards the east side of town. Another look at it here. That line of storms blasting through Fort Smith at the moment. Strong gusty winds from Kelly Highway over to North Albert Pike, Churchill. Here's O Street, Park Avenue. They're pre-ferry, so this is out there on Rogers out towards the library and Creekmore Park. Hendricks Boulevard, Country Club out towards Hardscrabble, starting to get some of that stuff. Old Greenwood Road running north and south. Heavy thunderstorms here. Surprisingly, guys, though, this actually is not even warned around Alcoma and South Fort Smith. The tornado warning here is for the northern cell. I'll show you the wind velocity again. That really highlights it the best. See the green colors, how they've weakened? Not as bright. Still enough bright reds, though, or outbound winds, or think of like red shift. Ooh, look at that, too. That's pretty tight together right there near Kelly Highway and Albert Pike. I'm going to go back to that Kelly Highway cam real quick just to get a look at that. Let's see. Or we can look from Grand North. Why don't we look Grand Avenue North and see what that looks like here? What I'm looking at is see right there along North 32nd Street and Albert Pike right here. Next, right over the interstate. Now let's look at it. Center of the screen there, guys. See it? Do you see in the center of the screen right there? I think we got a little pocket of rotation developing. Here it comes across the interstate. This is looking north towards the storm. That's really picked up a lot. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. See how the red colors just jumped up real quick right there? Right along 540. Let me show you what I'm talking about right here. On the east side, see it right there? The bright red in the middle. This is it. That's what we're looking at right here. So you can look in the center part of this shot, what I'm looking for in the distance, and I'll go back to radar for you as I'm looking for any power flashes or anything like that. Let's stop this and let's just get a closer look at this guy. And then we'll go over to analyst and look at it too. Let's see here. I don't see anything that would indicate it's on the ground. There is a tornado warning, but it was issued for the northernmost cell, not necessarily for this one. That's farther to the south. All this time, let's see here. Yep, looks like analyst picked up on it. See it right there? So analyst caught it too. Right there. I still think there's a little pocket of rotation right there that concerns me. Right here. Looking live at it right now, guys, too. So if I go back to the radar source and I'm seeing it here near exit 5, tracking east towards Catcher and Oak Grove. The one to the north is actually weakened significantly, a lot. I mean, it's a very broad area of rotation to the north. Here it is. Guys, I think that this one here, though, I'm looking at the center shot here. I think this thing could produce a tornado. Let me show you. See what I mean right here? So this is actually along the river bottoms. So that's good news. But it's close to South 28th Street, South 4th Street, Industrial Park Road, and over there by Twin Rivers along the Arkansas River where 49 and 540 meet. That's where I'm seeing this. Don't know if there's a southbound shot. Actually, there is. Let's look here. So we're looking at that rotation. At a minimum, I think we get wind damage out of this on the east side of Fort Smith, northeast side of Fort Smith, um, closer to Highway 59. Here it is again, right there. Let me look at this a little closer here. Let's just see. And we'll go back to analyst too. Hmm. Let me look at this, guys, real quick. A little bit of analysis here. Boy, I don't like how that looks. That's along South 4th Street and South 28th Street in the Fort Smith area. So the worst has moved over Fort Smith, some gusty winds here, a couple of pockets of rotation to watch. They dropped the tornado warning here on the storm to the south. It weakened enough, so there's no tornado warning anymore for Pensacola, Hackett, Cameron, Spiro, Panama, nothing like that. The one to watch is right here. That's moving over the northeast side of Fort Smith, and particularly Oak Grove in this area. I'm going to go to analyst. It's going to tell me a little bit more on this of what's happening. Let me look here a little closer, guys. Go back a couple frames. And I don't like how that looked at all. Let me look here. Showing it right there. I may go to a dual shot. Guys, this thing may have touched down real briefly here. It would have been close to Industrial Park in Van Buren is where I'm seeing it. Definitely wouldn't want to be on the bridge. Whew, goodness gracious. That is the 59. Look at all that rainfall. You can't hardly see anything. That's looking north, right into the storm there. Back over to analyst. Again, a wide shot here first, showing the showers and storms making their way to the east. Northwest Arkansas, it's in the books. This round's over. You'll get one more tonight. Looks like a tornado report did come in from a storm chaser that crossed I-40 with a debris signature. Makes sense. Weather Service trimmed back the tornado warning now. They're only including the northern, north of 40 here up to Cedarville, and then south. It does still include Fort Smith. Let me check the warning bulletin real quick. Let's see here. I don't have anything observed. You've got this little one here, and then you have one to the south that popped up. That one to the south is a touch stronger near Van Buren. It's now that area has moved east. It doesn't look like it's as threatening. Let's see here. We can look westbound from the way station. So that little pocket of rotation would be on the left side of the screen here. Not as impressive as it was earlier as far as the signature goes on the radar. Down south, a little bit of weak rotation, a little bit of weak rotation. Again, remember these are all on the weakening trend. Um, here's another look at it as it tracks in. Boy, that thing gusted out, didn't it? Just punched right through Van Buren. It's actually going to hit this camera shot that we're looking at right there here in just a second out towards the Van Alma area. If you're just watching this thinking, okay, well, just tell me where the tornado is. Well, as of right now, it doesn't appear that one's on the ground or anything. There's a broad area of rotation right near the way station, and there's another one that's out towards the Kibler Bottoms here. And this tornado warning is going to expire. They've got it. Let's see here. They canceled it for Sequoia. They're going to let this next one go until let's see. Man, they got to move it east at 55. That thing is hauling. They've got until 8:15 on that tornado warning here. So we'll see what the Weather Service elects to do on it. I mean, it's still decent. It's not looking like it was earlier, but I mean, it's still kind of there. Looking eastbound there from the exit, you can't see anything. In fact, you got semis pulled over on the side of the road. This is this out there towards Pointer Trail. Wind moving in sideways and everything. Goodness gracious. What a mess this morning. Again, that's right there, that was where you're looking here. So those winds, those heavy winds are actually moving right towards this area in Van Buren. And this is what it looks like. Here's a loop of this. Showing the heaviest over Van Buren, kind of close to the way station. Out towards Lee Creek, you can't see anything. I mean, it's just gobs and gobs of heavy rainfall. See it punching east through Fort Smith. Man, that thing gusted out. It is going to be interesting to see what the top wind gust was on that when it moved over the Fort Smith airport. I suspect it's higher end. But let's go back to this and watch it as it makes its way into Van Buren. Looks like you got a couple semis there. Again, I mentioned stopped on the shoulder. That's going to start picking up here soon with the heavy rainfall, and should see it on that camera as it gusts out. Looks like they've allowed the warning to expire here from Greenwood South. So this is even a warned storm. They dropped the warning. I suspect they're going to drop this warning as the weakening trend continues. The little bend right there over Fort Smith is the most troublesome one right now. Everything else is just a lot of noise this morning. Let's go back to this source and look at it just a smidge closer here. Let's loop this thing. Man, look at that. You can best see that? You see where that little yellow and green popped up? Boom, right there. Real quick. That was right there on the northeast side of Fort Smith. I think that's over by 28th Street. Looks like it's gusting out though. I see there's a little pocket there near Shibley. Nothing strong. Still some very heavy wind and rain as it makes its way in towards Alma. Let's see here. Let's look east from exit 7. So this is kind of looking at the storm as it makes its way into Alma. Goodness gracious, you can't see anything. I mean, just socked into that rainfall. Holy cow. Look about a slow go this morning. Get back to radar. Let me look at this. Well, I shouldn't have done that. The new sweep was coming through. Let's see. I think did it update? Let me look here. Let's go to the other one. Here we go. They trimmed back the tornado warning now, so it does not include Fort Smith anymore at all. They're letting it ride out here for about another 7 minutes or so, and I bet they drop it after that unless something crazy happens. Let's see here. I'm going to loop this, guys. And follow. See how the rotation just fell apart after it moved east? This was expected for these storms to weaken a lot when they moved across the state line. They're moving into a weaker air mass that's not quite as unstable as it was in Oklahoma. Still pretty nasty though, huh? Gross way to start a Friday. Gusty, heavy winds in Van Buren. I don't see anything that shows any kind of rotation. What I want to do real quick, I just want to step this back. I was concerned right here. This is what really caught my attention. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go 2 panel on this real quick, just to see. Let's throw the winds on this side and let's put the debris on the right side. And let's just look right here. I'm gonna put a little marker there, a little red dot. I'm gonna step it forward a few frames. So then it would be right here. And then, yeah, I think we did. I think we had a brief tornado, y'all, right here. I think it happened here in Industrial Park. Um, this would have been just south of 540, right south of the Riggs exit. And then I see it moving. It looks like it moved along 540 here briefly, real briefly, and then lifted farther north. May have moved just south of 64, right in here. Yeah, I bet something happened right in there. Real quick, it was on the northeast side of town. It looks like they've got a new one too. Yeah, sure enough. Did go ahead and extend the tornado warning on this thing. So let's go back to a radar shot here And let's see this one populate on here real quick. Um, hasn't shown up yet, but it will here in a second. So there it is. So there's the new tornado warning that includes Alma, Dyer, Mulberry, as well as the Ozark area. It looks like, let's see, the new scan just swept through. Back to analyst real quick. And let me look here, guys. Boy, it's going in Alma right now. Holy cow. Smokes, look at this. Goodness gracious. Very heavy wind and rain in that area. I'm going to go to a two-panel shot, show you guys what I'm looking at here. So actually, let me switch sides. It just makes a little more sense for me here. So I think what we had was a little brief tornado start here just south of 40 and move northeast up towards Alma. I actually still see a little debris signature on this southwest of Alma. So I'm going to go and get street level on this for you guys. So I'm showing it here near Henry Street, affecting more of the south part of Alma. There's Frog Bayou. So that's along Summerdale Drive. I think that brief tornado probably touched down near Shibley along Alma Highway and Grand Magnolia and Anderson, and then continued tracking through Concord between Alma and Van Buren. And I'm showing it right now, right there near North Arkansas Terrace, moving towards Alma. I don't see it as strong. Let's look at this, see what the sweep does here. Van Buren, by the way, you guys are in the clear. It's more Alma, Dyer, Mulberry right now. There's another sweep that came through. Nothing really picked up intense on that. So I'm going to go back to another product here. Nope. I think it was real brief. Sure enough. So they've got that tracking now towards the east and towards the northeast down I-40. Here's a loop of it again. And then back to analyst. To me, it doesn't look like there's a tornado threat that's imminent. I'd still be heads up in Alma, though. Alma, Dyer, both of y'all. And I do think one touchdown. I think we had two touchdowns this morning. One near Vian, and then we had one near Shibley out there in the bottoms on the east side of 540 out there by Industrial Park in Van Buren. Another wide shot here. Let's animate this. Again, that's tracking east towards Ozark, right along I-40. It's weakened. There's a little pocket of rotation back down here to the south near Greenwood. They dropped a warning on that altogether, though. There's a little weak spin here, too. So that's going to be something to watch, guys, as it makes its way in. And then from Heavener out towards Tallahena as well, these thunderstorms are tracking east. Heavy thunderstorm here near Mulberry and Ozark, moving east and then moving towards the Ozark area. I also think we have some just crazy strong winds here. Goodness. That's going to be right there, kind of by Cloverleaf in Van Buren. I might be able to show you what that looks like here. That's going to be out towards the interchange. Here's a northbound shot in 540. And then back to radar. Hey, just to let you know, downtown Fort Smith, you guys are in the clear. You're in the clear in Rogers Avenue, Highway 22 East out towards Barling. We're in the clear. Let's say we're in the clear. We're not under the threat of any kind of rotation or tornado. From Greenwood over to Pocola, heavy thunderstorms here, south part of town. Mulberry, Ozark, still under the tornado warning. It's moving. They've got it moving east at 50. I mean, that alone will cause some wind damage. The Weather Service is calling it a confirmed tornado. That's based on that debris signature that you and I were looking at here just a second ago. And they've got the warning going until 8:30 or so. I'm going to track it just a little bit longer. I'm gonna be a smidge late going into work this morning, um, but I'll track it just a little bit longer until it makes its way a little farther towards the east. Northwest Arkansas, guys, we're in the clear from any kind of severe weather. It's still raining and thundering from Rogers to Springdale to Fayetteville. Real rainy morning here, and then back south, you've got the storms here. That are near Ozark in the greater Fort Smith area that still have that risk of some spin on it. It was very strong winds too. Actually, the tornado risk looks like it's still coming down to me. Let me look here. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think Weather Service is going to come out and find tornado damage here, right here. It's basically right over chicken plant there. You know how you're driving on 540, it starts smelling like fried chicken. Um, that was the old Twin Rivers Airport. It's not an airport anymore. Now they just, is that wasn't that? Yeah, that was where that was. Um, that doesn't exist anymore. They've got trailers parked on it. But anyway, so that little green dot there, I think it moved over Industrial Park out towards the co-op. And it was real quick and brief too, man, wasn't it? You guys watched it with me as it moved in. So here's where we are now. And do we see anything like that now? No, we actually don't. Um, Looking at the storm and inside the storm, it does look like it's weakened from the tornado threat. Still heavy thunderstorm though that's on top of us. There's another look at it. Again, that's near Alma and Dyer and Mulberry coming down I-40. Some of the heaviest part of that storm is out there around um, Old Rudy Road, Wayfair Drive, Maple Shade Road, Column Lane. So the Column Lane exit there, West Cherry Street in Alma, really getting some heavy wind and rain now. Still a severe thunderstorm, still a tornado warning on that particular storm that's here. Let's look east from that 49 interchange. There we go. So this is looking east into Alma. Unless they've turned the camera. Let's see here. I'm gonna go back to the radar. So some heavy storms still ongoing. The tornado warning expires in 13 minutes. Personally, I don't think they're gonna extend it. Hey, look at that thing. It really started here right on Kelly Highway, right there by the police, by the state police. And again, that's tracking north. It's all decoupled now. It's not even close to being as wrapped up as it was. So yeah, weakening trend. That's what we thought was going to happen. That's what's happening. Um, they've still got the warning on it for now, but if this trend continues, I think they drop it, which is good. I still see a little pocket of rotation out towards Huntington too. That's going to be moving out towards the north. Here's another wide view of this thing as it moves in. Again, Northwest Arkansas in the clear for Bentonville and for Rogers, as well as Fayetteville. There's the back edge of the rain, so we should get that clearing here about the next hour or so. We could have some stragglers develop later this afternoon, and I think we get another complex almost identical to this, maybe just a smidge stronger tomorrow morning. So maybe actually be a little stronger for us coming up for tomorrow. For that storm. But out towards Alma, Mulberry, and Dyer, still watching that. And then South Fort Smith, too, out towards Old Jenny Lynn, Greenwood, Big Rock, Huntington, that whole area, getting some heavy thunderstorms. There's no warnings on that, though. There's still warnings on this storm here near Mulberry and Dyer, although the rotation has come down dramatically compared to where it was earlier. Still some spin on it. Still some spin on the one to the south, too. You got to watch these little areas like this. These are the ones where those, it's like playing whack-a-mole when you're at Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. They pop up and then they go down as soon as you see them. So it's a real quick one. East Clark's Chapel Road. I'd keep an eye on that out towards Milltown and Washburn in that area. You could be getting some warnings out of that a little bit later. And it looks like the storm here is weakened significantly compared to where it was earlier. So I bet you the Weather Service probably confirms a couple tornadoes out of this thing, one near Vian and one on the northeast side of Fort Smith, probably one out towards 10 Killer too. And like I alluded to, we're going to get a little bit more. Hey, by the way, it looks like there's another. See that one? That one's not warned. Another little pocket there out south of Japton and Witter. And then this one's moving towards the east. and is continuing to weaken here. Another wide view of the showers and storms as they track in. Here it is. I'm curious to see too. Let's look here. These complexes are great for getting that rainfall though, right? I mean, it's great to have the rain in the area. Really makes things green up. We'll be needing the rain here soon as well, just because of the you know how in the summer months you don't get anything, right? It's Kelly Highway, and this is where I thought it might have crossed the road. I don't see any damage there. Nothing jumps out at me. Back to radar source here. This was you guys were, if you were following me, this is where we were watching it earlier. That's 59 looking south. Started to clear up quite a bit there. They've dropped completely that second tornado warning. So I think when we look at a little bit later, we'll probably find some a brief tornado touchdown around South 40th Street in Van Buren. On South 28th is where it started. Oak Grove Road, kind of out there by the Kibler ball fields. Catcher out there towards the Parks greenhouses. Pleasant Valley Road, Shibley, Sunnyside, that area. I think we'll probably find a touchdown track there when the Weather Service comes out and surveys it. And they'll survey this one because it did show up on radar briefly too. So that's what we're looking at with this storm. Let's go back and see if this thing is strengthening or weakening. It looks like it's continuing to weaken. There's still a broad area of rotation, you can kind of tell. We may get some additional ones to the south. It wouldn't surprise me if we get another brief spin up. You guys just be on alert this morning for another couple hours. See this little guy here near Huntington? Something like that could spin up real quick. This one I think is done, finished. And I don't see really anything in northwest Arkansas at all. So the one here to the south near Mulberry and Alma appears to have weakened compared to where it was earlier, even though we're still under the warning, of course. Let me go back to this product here. Heavy thunderstorms coming into Boonville. Yeah, this is turned into garbage now. It's awesome. Gotta love to see that. See that the red colors fall apart. Weakening trends are the best. Kind of a wild morning. What a way to start the weekend, huh? With these storms that are in the area. So following it near Dyer and Alma, and again, I mentioned that one to the south that's out there. Um, Actually, you really can't even tell on radar just by looking at this. Boy, you can see it on velocity right there. See it? There's a little teeny hook in there, right towards 252. That's out towards Crossroads, Dayton, and Echo Road. No warning on that one, by the way. Still watching this guy here near Mulberry and Alma, track east. Heavy wind and rain as it makes its way into the area. Then that lifts more northeastward in towards Alma. I'm gonna check out Analyst real quick. Let's see here. Alma, Mulberry, heavy wind. Let me look here. Some of these little bright spots. Those are the ones you got to watch near Mulberry. But overall, a weaker area of rotation for sure compared to what it looked like earlier. Let's see here. They've updated the bulletin to call it radar indicated, which means that there's no confirmation of it being on the ground. Makes sense. They canceled the warning for North Sebastian County, where it was earlier. They've got this one going. They've got it going till 8:30 or so, but they may elect to cancel it a little bit sooner, seeing how this line is a little bit weaker as it moves in. There's another look at it as it tracks from west to east. So, real quickly, a wide view of the storm here. I'm going to go full screen on this guy. And there's the complex. So expected downward trend to continue. This is all tracking eastward. Keep an eye on that storm out across the Mulberry area and in that general vicinity as it moves to the east. Fort Smith is in the clear. Fayetteville's in the clear. Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about in Siloam Springs. Keep your head on a swivel in Boonville, Ozark, and Clarksville until this line moves east. But do remember, as it moves east, it is going to be weakening. So what we're going to be seeing here is another one of these complexes move in coming up tomorrow morning. That one's going to be severe too, and that's going to have the same risk of these little quick spin ups, which can cause brief tornadoes like we saw this morning. One near Vian, one near Fort Smith, and one out towards 10 Killer earlier. At least three of them that I saw tornado debris signatures on. One came close to Siloam Springs before it started to collapse. I'm going to head off to work. I work at First National Bank of Fort Smith, FNB NWA division of First National Bank of Fort Smith. So I'm going to head in. That's mid to late. Uh, work this morning. It is Friday though, and it's a little rainy. So, but we had that storm that moved through earlier today and moved through Fayetteville, Fort Smith. Some strong storms, but the weakening trend continues, and hopefully that's going to continue to be the case here around I-40. But keep an eye on it, or watch my good friends over at 5 News. They're still covering this storm as well. The TV policy is going to be on the air whenever the storms hit in the market, and there are storms in the market. So they'll be tracking the storms. My buddy Zach Hall is also watching this stuff too. So you might head over to his stream and catch it if you want to catch some more coverage of the storm that's moving in. That's going to do it for me for now. I'm headed off to work, and I will see you guys probably back here in 24 hours with more of these storms moving in on this June 6th. It is 8/12. Happy Friday. What a rude start to the day. But all this stuff starts to clear by 10 or 11, and then we do it again tonight. We'll catch you guys back next time. Glad we're safe.